the game.
Yeah, maybe.
We are live. SBR Closing Line Show, Saturday morning, October 19th, guys. We got DJ Big Boss, Big Ragoo, Ian Cameron. I am Drew Martin, breaking down the games each and every Saturday, 11 a.m. Eastern, here on the SBR YouTube channel. Babano, north of the border, man. Welcome in. How you doing today?
Yeah, Drew, what's the matter with you? You caught us with our pants down, so to speak. You're talking just as we went on the air there. But that's all right, Drew. You're quick on the trigger. That's okay. We got to get going. You're right. It's after 11. We got a big college football Saturday to break down. Let's go.
And Pavano, I didn't mean to do it, man. Usually you press go live and then it gives you another warning, go live. This time it didn't, bro. So I was going to give you guys all the warning beforehand, but it didn't get to me. DJ Big Boss in California. Welcome in. Happy Saturday morning, buddy.
Happy Saturday morning, Drew, Ragoo, Babano. Hey, y'all want another jingle? Do we need another Saturday morning jingle?
Wake us up.
Hey, one of the craziest things that used to happen when I used to DJ is some guys don't want no music, and they have everybody start clapping. So I want everybody in the chat. I know y'all at home. Start the clap for me. Start the soul clap for me.
Soul clap. Soul clap.
Here we go.
Here we go. There we go. Soul clap.
I got a little one for you. Here we go. It was all a dream. I used to watch the game for my favorite team. Now it's line movers, overs, and unders, and everything. Ooh. Just a little quick something I put together while we was right there, man.
Not bad.
Good morning, guys. Good morning.
If you're any kind of hip-hop fan, you know what melody and song that was. That he was.
Yeah. We're going to work on that one, though. We're going to work on that one. We're going to work on that one. But what's up, guys, man? It's Saturday. Interesting week right here. It's tread lightly. This, don't play with too much emotion. Don't jump out there on all the media trends. You got to be a smart guy this weekend. Things are going to be changing. People are going to be settling out into their conference zones. Some good games today. I don't really like the major card, but some of the smaller cards, we got some good matchups. But let's go, guys. Let's put another 4-0 together.
Absolutely, off of a 4-0 best bet week last week on the closing line. And last, but certainly not least, Big Ragoo down from the state of Florida. Mr. Big Ragoo, welcome in.
Good morning, gents. Good morning. Hey, if anybody's looking at any action in Florida, there's a lot of weather going on down here today, a lot of rain in Florida. So be on the lookout for some weather situations down here. But I'm looking to smash up this card with you guys today. Let's go 4-0 again today for our fans.
Absolutely, guys. And we got some ranked on ranked matchups we're going to hit real quick, then open it up to the board. Guys in the chat box, welcome in. Happy Saturday morning to you each and every Saturday, 11 a.m. Eastern. Let's hit these big games, guys. We got Michigan and Penn State college game day there, the whole bit. We're seeing Penn State now down to what is low as 7 at Pinnacle right now. We're seeing 8, 7.5. Some opinion in the marketplace here, guys. 46.5 the total. I like Penn State at home. The whiteout, we've all heard about it. But at the same time, it looks like some late money, not necessarily late money, but some game day money coming in on the Wolverines. Ian, are you interested in getting involved in this marquee matchup in the Big Ten?
Yeah, you mentioned 4-0, all of us best bets. For me personally, that was the best Saturday I've had this season. It was a phenomenal Saturday last week. We were doing great. However, one of my blemishes last week was going against Penn State. With the Iowa Hawkeyes last week. That did not work out. Very disappointing result. Disappointed to see Iowa's offense make some mistakes, turn it over. I thought their defense played well, but give Penn State credit. I wasn't convinced Penn State could go on the road against a good, physical, tough-minded football team like Iowa at Kinnick Stadium there in Iowa City and get the job done. They did. I give them all the credit, and that's now twice, Drew, that I've lost going against Penn State. Maryland, I was dead wrong on that. And, of course, last week with Iowa, didn't get the job done. I'm out of betting against Penn State, at least for this week. Doesn't mean I'm on them, and I'm not on them. But now they're back home. This has always been, and if you look back historically, guys, they've done really well in these Saturday night home games, national TV in Happy Valley. I think they have a good long-term track record of success playing these Saturday night games. And I'm going to have to see Shea Patterson and the Michigan offense against a Penn State defense that, look, they've done nothing wrong this season. Penn State can only play the teams they've played, and their defenses look very good in all of those games against those teams. I've got to see this Michigan offense be able to sustain drives, go on the road, and stay toe-to-toe with a good Penn State defense before I can trust Michigan here. Even though they're getting a lot of points, they are. I got to see it. And we know Jim Harbaugh's had trouble in these big games. Okay, they got the win against Iowa at home. Can they go on the road and do it? We know on the road they've struggled. The big games they've struggled. Their ATS numbers, on the road underdog in big games, top 25 foes, not good for this Michigan team. Can their offense move that ball? I'm still not sold on Clifford, the quarterback for Penn State. I think he's a little bit more pedestrian, a lot more than Trace McSorley was, and the passing game overall is. But if you made me choose, I would lean ever so slightly to Penn State. I'm out of the business of backing Jim Harbaugh and Michigan on the road in a big game in a big spot, but I'm not going to lay the points either. I've cooled my opinion a little bit on Penn State after last week against Iowa. I got to give them credit. They went on the road against a good team, found a way to get the job done. So lean Penn State, but not anything I got close to betting. Big
Ragoo, you interested in getting involved in this game in Happy Valley?
Yeah, I sure am. Not so much from a side, but from a total. Like Ian was saying, it seems like Penn State has their struggles playing in conference against the quality opponents. Now, the one opponent they have both in common right now was the Iowa team. Michigan was luckily to come back and get that W. And both of them have been struggling ATS against common opponents. But I think more or less, if you look at the conference as a whole, this conference here, I mean, you've got the number one defense in Wisconsin, yielding 29 points in 6 games. I think Penn State's right at 49. Ohio State's right there. All of these teams have yielded under 100 points, the top 5 in the conference. So I'm looking to get with the under on this side here. I think it's going to be a game that, with the Michigan struggles on the offense and with the way that Penn State plays common opponents, they play down to their level. So I think this game here has a dead under written all over it. I don't see a high-scoring affair. The only way I see this game getting out of control, if Michigan totally does not compete on the level they should compete at, where Penn State kind of, with the whiteout situation at home, makes it a one-way game, and then it can get ugly for Michigan. But I don't really see that happening. With the way the market's moving and the way they play up and down to opponents, I think it's going to be a tighter game. I'm not so much leaning towards the side. I like the total under. I got in at 48 early in the week. I know it's down to 47, so I like under 48, 47 in this game.
Okay. All right. Looking towards the under. And DJ Big Boss, I look at this and 2 coaches that I don't really think are too likable of guys. And they both, if they got their opponent down, they're going to look to score there at the end. I sort of have that opinion, which makes me feel like I want to be betting on the more talented team top to bottom, which I view as Penn State at home. I don't know, man. How are you feeling here, Michigan, Penn State?
Hey, toss me in the smoke, Drew. I'm going with Michigan State plus the points in this spot right here. I mean, Harbaugh, he does have a brother that coaches as well. We've seen him go through some adversity, change some things around, do some things better. Although I think the main key with Michigan is just the talent in the group. They just don't got the talented group that they thought they were going to have. But, I think this guy's going to take his cards and work them right here. Penn State, we've been waiting for Penn State to pop. Week after week, we've been doubting Penn State, and they've been showing and improving week after week. So, I like Penn State in that respect. But, this is big-time conference play right now. This is what they eat, sleep, and drink over there in that conference is matchups like this. And I don't think it's a runaway for a touchdown. Today we're going to get some overtimes. We're going to get some field goal wins. We're going to get some block kicks. We're going to get all the adversity piles in today. And I think, Harbaugh is going to coach his way out of the bag right here. He's going to be definitely on the hot seat if he finishes this season. I mean, directly after this game, if he loses to Penn State, they're all over him. So, this is a part where he can correct some things. He does have a defense to work with, and I like that under as well. He does have a defense to work with. It's a total different type of game right here when these coaches lay it on the line. Preparation, tradition, legacy, all those things are being taught in those coaches' meetings and all those little player talks and stuff. So it's going to be a real fine game. Going to be very interesting to watch. But give me the points in this one. I'm leaning the points on a lot of games because some teams are going to be moving around. Some rankings are going to be changing. Some things are going to happen this week.
All right, DJ Big Boss, looking for the dogs to be barking today as we get down to the back half.
I just want to jump in with one last
last
point on this game. I remember Michigan in the offseason. All I heard from Harbaugh, all I heard from Josh Gaddis, their new offensive coordinator that everyone was singing the praises of, was we're going to be fast, we're going to be exciting, we're going to be throwing the ball downfield, up-tempo, fast-paced. I haven't seen any of that shit from this Michigan team this year. Same old Harbaugh. We're not really – well, at times they go maybe a modicum faster, but we're not seeing this blistering pace that they were talking about in the offseason and throughout spring and fall camp. So it's just a bunch of window dressing. It's the same old Michigan. They're still going to be, let the defense win the game. They'll try to do enough on offense, but this is nothing resembling this new and improved and high-flying explosive offense that we've seen so far this season from Michigan. It doesn't look a whole lot different from what I've seen in years past.
I agree. He's still got his hands very much in that offense. We got the chat box is live. Raymond, Danny, Nut Flush Allen in the house from California. Molly Mall, what's up, buddy? Mr. Ski Prophet, how you doing, man? Rude Vol. Ski, if you got any NBA plays, man, throw them out in the chat box. Really, anybody with their best bets, why you're betting it and why, we'll try to get it out on the show. Nasty Nate in the house. Red Girl, welcome in. Good morning to you. All the low baggers, feel free to chime in. Whatever you're feeling on the chat box, any best bets you want to throw out there, we'll try to throw as much out on the show as possible. We got two big Pac-12 games, guys, before we open up the card here to open mic section. We got money line best bets coming up. We got Arizona State, Utah here, the 17th ranked Sun Devils at the 13th ranked Utes. This one in Salt Lake. Looks like some more money coming in on Utah at home. I'll tell you guys, when I think about Arizona State and Utah, I think about two really good coaches, Herm Edwards, Whittingham there at Utah. In my opinion, the two best coaches in the conference and two of the top, I'd say 5 head coaches in all of college football. I know I'm kind of going out on a limb there maybe, but we're seeing 46 the total, minus 13.5 Utah at home. There are 14s out there if you're looking to bet on the Sun Devils on the road. Big Ragoo, you interested in this Pac-12 game, Arizona State, Utah? We also got Oregon and Washington. Oregon minus 3 on the road, 48 the total at Washington, man. One of these kind of interest you a little bit more than the other, and any feel here on the two major Pac-12 games today?
You got two big different scenarios as far as line numbers are concerned here. You got a huge number up there in Provo. I've been following this Arizona State team, and the Pac-12 is not a conference I usually get involved with because there's so much. You never know what's going to happen there. It's usually a track meet either way. But I'll tell you, this year's been a little different. You have a lot of defensive-minded squads up in the Pac-12 this year. And Arizona State is one of those teams, and so isn't Utah, by the way. But a big number like that, 14, that's a lot of points. I think mainly you're looking at, the team being carried by Jaden Daniels, the freshman out of Arizona State. He's shown a lot of good looks this year. He's only threw 1 pick so far. And he's really rallied that team behind him, or the team's got behind him. And a lot of that has got to do, like you said, with Herm Edwards coaching those kids up, really getting the job done. This team's been a pretty good road team. They live really well on the road. They travel well on the road. And I think they're going to be up against it slightly here. My main concern is, with Hunley and Moss, Utah, last time I was up with them, they played USC. Last time I put a wager on them, and they kind of they were a little banged up going to that game, but I didn't like what they had the bigger receivers they had to go up against on the defensive side for Utah, but they didn't play a very good game at USC in that game. It's going to be a little different here at home for them, going up against the Arizona team. But I think the only thing is that Arizona State does struggle to score points on the road. They get involved in more of a defensive battle type game, so I would lean the big number. The number's there for a reason, like it is. I think the big matchup for Arizona State is going to be the quarterback play versus the Utah defense. If they can compete on that level, then the points are going to look good here. If not, then I don't see Arizona State covering the number here. But I would lean Arizona State. I don't have a play on the game, but I would definitely lean Arizona State. That would be my look in this game.
Yeah, Big Ragoo, good defensive football. And I like that you brought up that USC game against Utah. I was on that side as well. Remember, Zach Moss went out in that game. Tyler Huntley got a little bit banged up, which you got to give credit to the USC defense for some of that. But still, I just feel like Utah wasn't necessarily the wrong side there. It's just kind of, the ball didn't bounce their way, so to speak. Yeah. But we got DJ Big Boss there in Pac-12 country, man. State of California. These 4 teams well. Do any of these big matchups in the Pac-12 interest you?
Man, going to the Pac-12 late with them Pac-12 refs is like pulling teeth, Drew. I can't stand it, man. I don't like it. I don't like it. But if you look at this game right here, okay, it's screaming under. Utah, 2-4 to the under. Arizona State, 1-5 to the under. 2 top coaches. Definitely know that the game is rooted in defense. It's screaming under. But the problem is the unders got a little too low. I'm seeing right here on SBR that it opened up at 49. It's all the way down to 46. You can even get a 45.5 at Heritage. I think it's getting a little too low. It's time to start moving the train the other way. 2 similar coaches doing the same similar thing. Anything can happen in this game right here. So much volatility between the 2 teams. It's probably going to start off low scoring or something, but as soon as they start chasing touchdowns, I mean, how you stick a 14 with a 46, you might have to go over in this one at this point. Probably let it settle down some more, see if you can probably get a 45 and jump on the over. This game, it can shoot over in overtime. Anything can happen right here. I like the over in this one.
Like the over in Arizona State, Utah. And, Ian, throw it over to you for these Pac-12 games, man. I kind of like the under in Oregon, Washington. With these 2 quarterbacks, you don't really necessarily think that. But Oregon's played 4 straight unders, I believe, and Washington, not necessarily an over team themselves. I like the under in the Pac-12 North matchup.
Yeah, and Oregon's without one of their better weapons on offense in this game, too. He got injured last week in the game and is not going to play here in this one as well. I forget the name off the top of my head, but he's a big part of that Ducks offense with Justin Herbert, who's really relied on him, targeted him a lot in recent games this season. So not having him is going to hurt. Washington's offense is very capable, but I'm starting to get the sense that against better defenses, and Oregon does have a hell of a defense. Just ask Colorado last week. I mean, Colorado just turned away time and time again inside the red zone when they were trying to finish off drives, and Oregon's defense just shut them down completely. But I get the sense Washington's an offense that can beat up on weaker defenses and maybe struggle a bit against better defenses. Like they moved the ball against Hawaii. They moved the ball against Arizona last week. They moved the ball against BYU, and they're a bigger team than BYU. But against some better defenses, Stanford confused, Jacob Eason and that Washington offense. If you're having trouble moving the ball against Stanford, how are you going to do here against an Oregon defense that's probably the best defense you faced? So this is a fascinating game. I really like Oregon, and I actually still really like Washington, and I like Herbert and I like Eason. I like the 2 quarterbacks. So from a side perspective, I'm not in a rush to bet against either of these 2 teams. But Drew, you're saying you like the under, and I wouldn't personally, say no, don't bet that. I mean, I think this could be a game where, again, Washington's this would be one of the better defenses they've seen. And as much as I like Eason, they've moved the ball against Hawaii, Arizona, BYU. That's weak defense. Stanford defense, they struggled, and Stanford a little bit better than those 3 defenses. Now you're playing an even better defense than that. So I'm going to have to see Eason move the ball before I believe it.
Great stuff, guys, there in the Pac-12. This is the closing line show each and every Saturday, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific. If you're liking the content, please give us a thumbs up. And if you could share on your social media networks, that would help us out. Get the word out on the show. Got best bets coming up, money line underdogs. Anybody seeing anything out there? Guys, I guess open mic section, we can hit on any games, open up the card here. We got some 12 o'clock noon action on the East Coast, and Florida versus South Carolina seems to be a topic of conversation out there. Big Ragoo, I know you're down there in the state of Florida. What's your feel here? I mean, the Gators now down to 4. The market really loving the South Carolina side here, man. What are you feeling here with the Gators and Gamecocks?
I'll tell you what, Florida, I was Benedict Arnold. That's my name when it comes to backing teams one week to the next. I get off them, get on them, get off them, get on them. But last week I was on LSU, barely got the cover. W's a W, right? They pay at the window, doesn't matter. Florida played a pretty good game in that game. Trask, he showed up, played a very good game offensively. I was totally surprised how well they were able to move the ball up and down the field against that LSU defense. And not that they were ever up against it, but, they should have been. But they played well there. And Georgia, that was a whole nother story. I mean, they got shell-shocked with SC coming in there and taking them down as they did. A couple of plays went their way, and they walked away with a victory. Now they go back in Columbia, and the Gators got to travel again. So Gators, Auburn, LSU, now at South Carolina, some tough road warrior games here, back-to-back road games. And it doesn't surprise me that that the Gators, I might back them here as far as the favorite goes. SC coming off the big win, coming back home. And now Muschamp, don't forget, he would like to get this W too because he's going up against his old team. He got canned against the Gators. So I think Florida. If I had to lean here, I would lean Florida, even though they're coming off back. It's back-to-back road games, and SC coming off of that big win at Georgia. I think the Gators probably could be a touchdown better here. I just don't see a whole lot of offense being generated by South Carolina. Florida's defense is still going to play well. They're pretty healthy. If Trask can hang in there and Perine get some good runs, and they can stretch the field a little bit, I think the Gators can walk away with the victory. I'm not going to put a bet on the game, but I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, you bring up Muschamp. He's kind of calmed down a little bit since his sideline days for the University of Florida. Good for him. But I think he's a great coach as well. He's going to be gunning for the Gators after canning them, like you said. Shout out to Paco Healy and OG Wham in the chat box as well. Two good low baggers there. But DJ Big Boss, man, we were talking before we started the show, and you had a feeling on this Gators versus Gamecocks game, man. What are you thinking?
Hey, it's just like we just talked on the other game. Screams under in this one. We know the shaky situation with the quarterback over at Florida. Here they are on the road. But can this South Carolina team pull off two double whammies week after week? I'd like to see that. I'd really like to see South Carolina beat Florida today. That'll be nice. But if I'm going to get involved, I don't know. I might have to take another angle of mine. Here you go, two tough defensive teams. Under opened at 49 all the way down to 45. I'm seeing 44.5 at 5 dimes. I mean, is it really that much of an under? Are we still playing college football right here? These teams at some point are going to score. You got all the speed from Florida. You got the speed from the Carolinas in this game. Somebody gets loose. These teams, and that's another thing I wanted to mention too about the Oregon game and Washington game. You're talking about these athletes out of the same area. They get in these type of games against each other, and they played each other or played with each other, or they know each other well. They know a friend of a friend or whatever, and the competition level on the field changes. So I think these wide receivers and DBs that played against over here in Florida, I think they get loose at some point and score some points. I wouldn't put any money on the game. Another game I love to watch. I mean, if I was going to put any money on the game, I would just take South Carolina money line and hope on a double whammy. But after beating a big team like Georgia, I mean, how much gas do you got left in the tank? So best thing I would do in this one is, take the over. And that's just on my theory that the line is too low and that these teams can explode at any time.
All right, good stuff, DJ Big Boss. And Ian, interested in your opinion here, man. Just to let you know, I like the Gators here. I just think top to bottom, they're the more talented team. And I do think they have the better quarterback. I mean, South Carolina, we saw the kid with 3 picks against in the upset of Georgia, 1 for a pick 6. I believe that was Jake Fromm's first ever pick 6. But still, man, overall, I'm looking towards the Gators here. But Will Muschamp and company, like DJ Big Boss was saying, it wouldn't be the biggest surprise I've ever seen if they were able to pull off the double whammy, so to speak.
This is a fascinating game because to me, I want absolutely zero part of this game from a betting standpoint, but this is bad spot versus bad spot here to me for this game. This is Florida off a grueling, emotional, physical game against LSU, and they gave it everything they had. They were right in that game till the end, and LSU pulls away the dagger touchdown late to go up by 14 and win that game. That was a physical football game, and I don't trust Florida laying points on the road here now. After a big-time game like that, they fall short in. But the spot's every bit as bad, if not worse, for South Carolina. I mean, they're coming off. You saw Will Muschamp. He was going nuts. The team was going nuts after the upset of Georgia last week. That was we won the national championship type of celebration from the Gamecocks in that win. There's no freaking way I'm taking South Carolina after a win like that. Not to mention Ryan Helinski's still a little banged up. He's got the knee injury. It's been a nagging problem for him. Yeah, he is playing today, but will he be at 100%? And he's up against a really good Florida defense. That's a concern for me. I don't know if Ryan Alinsky's going to be marching up and down the field, moving that football and putting up points in bunches today against this Florida team. It's just, I don't know who to trust. Do I trust Florida in this spot off a terrible loss, or not a terrible loss, but just a physical game, an emotional game like that? And I certainly don't trust South Carolina. If you made me choose, I'd lean slightly Florida, but this is a game that I said early in the week, I'm like, this is not a game I want any part of. It's super fascinating to watch. I'll be watching it because it's just interesting. Which of these teams is going to have anything left in the tank after last week to show up? But from a betting standpoint, there's no way I want any part of this game.
Great breakdowns there, guys, on the Gators and Gamecocks. That's a 12 noon matchup here. We got a bunch of 12 noons in terms of the Eastern time zone starts here. Iowa State, Texas Tech. That's a fascinating one in the Big 12. Maction, Central Michigan, Bowling Green. Got that one circled. Man, open it up to the card, Ian. Is there any games that you wanted to throw out there, open mic section?
Yeah, open mic. In terms of what are we looking at? Let's see. There's not a lot of games early. Usually I have a game or two in the early card that I like, the noon games. There's not a whole lot. I considered Clemson, Louisville over 62, but I'm worried about Louisville's offense scoring. That's the thing. I think Clemson will get in the 40s, maybe even the 50s, because you saw what happened to Louisville's defense last week against Wake. Wasn't very good. But I'm concerned, what's Louisville going to do against Clemson? Like, Clemson shut down Florida State. I know Florida State's got their own issues, I get it, but they're still a capable enough offense with Kendall Briles running that ship at the offensive coordinator position, and for Clemson to just shut them down the way they did, I thought was extremely. I'm worried about that for Louisville, so that's why I'm lukewarm on that over, which is at 62 right now. Going down to some of the later games, 3:30ish games, there's a bunch I like there. I like Tulsa. Catching almost 17 against Cincinnati. I think Cincinnati's a little overvalued now. The Desmond Ritter's a good quarterback. I still don't look at it as an explosive Cincinnati offense. They have to rely on their defense. Tulsa, I'm willing to give Tulsa a shot here because they obviously fell flat last week. They got blown out, but that was a week after the SMU game. And if you saw the SMU game, they had SMU dead and buried in that game, Tulsa. They were up double digits in the third, fourth quarter. They looked like they were going to hand SMU, a very good SMU team this year, their first loss, and they end up coming back, SMU, tying the game, winning it in overtime. That was a hangover spot last week for Tulsa. They didn't show up. I think this is now a chance for them to get back on track, bounce back game, good team on the road. I still like their defense. I think Tulsa's defense is better than it's been in years past. They hung tough with Michigan State early in the season. They played a tough schedule. There's a lot of points to be given a capable defense and a bounce back spot. And Zach Smith, the Baylor transfer at quarterback, can move the ball a bit. So I think that's a lot of points, too many points. Cincinnati, by the way, in their win against Houston last week, they were outgained by 30 yards. And Houston was -4 turnovers in that game. So that was a very misleading final score last week in favor of Cincinnati. So I think now there's point spread value on Tulsa.
All right, liking the Golden Hurricanes there. We got a bunch of guys in the chat. Manny liking Cal, Oregon State. We got +410 to win the series. MLB World Series action here from Don Ricci. Thoughts on Clemson first half team total over 23.5. ULM App State. No team has won in conference when ranked. That's from Shadow. That's a good one actually in the Sun Belt. Shadow. We'll get to that. ULM versus App State, the two division leaders there in the Sun Belt. But Big Ragoo, man, open mic section. Are there any games that you wanted to bring up that you had your eye on?
I just had a question about here's one that caught my eye earlier in the week, and I didn't really put a whole lot of thought into it, but now that we're talking about it a little bit, I was looking at this Missouri and Vanderbilt game. Now, we know Vanderbilt come off a rough outgoing last week, but is Missouri 21 points better than Vanderbilt on the road with Kelly Bryant taking the troops from Columbia back into Nashville today? What's your guys' thoughts on that one? I was kind of leaning taking the 21 and Vandy at home. I mean, that's a lot of points. I know Vandy's not up to anything good of late, but I was just trying to peel layers back on that game. What's your guys' thoughts on that one?
Yeah, for me, it is a stay away completely because this is the price range I do not trust Missouri in. Missouri's not a lay 3 touchdowns with team on the road. Not for me anyway. I've got to see it before I believe it. And I saw Missouri against Troy a couple of weeks ago. Barry Odom, when that team got up big, it was run the ball, run the ball, run the ball. It was not build the margin. It was not run up the score. And that's another thing that concerns me if you're going to lay this kind of number here with Missouri. But is Vanderbilt backable? That's the question. Like that's absolutely pitiful, embarrassing. That's an embarrassing result for Derek Mason and that Vanderbilt program last week. What, 45-10 at home to UNLV, the same UNLV team that got pumped at Fresno last night? I mean, holy mackerel, what is happening to Vanderbilt football? And making matters worse for them going into this game today, guys, they're down 2 of their top weapons on offense. You know, Kalijah Lipscomb, who's a tremendous receiver, is out. Keyshawn Vaughn, the running back, gone and out for this game. Riley Neal has really not had the season I thought he would at quarterback, coming over from Ball State, who had a nice career there. Where's the offense going to come from? Missouri does have a decent defense this year, so it's really tough. I mean, I think it's too many points to lay with Mizzou, but this is a dumpster fire and a car flying off the cliff right now with this Vanderbilt program that I can't back them. So it's a game I can't get involved with, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's very unusual for them to have that kind of look as an SEC team, especially with like you say, Mason coach squad. But I think the injury bug has definitely took its toll on them, you know, with Vaughn and whatnot. So I'm not going to back it, but it was just something that I wanted to bring up and possibly look into. But I wanted to get some opinions.
I got a song. I got a song for it, Big Ragoo. You want to hear the song?
Sure, go ahead, man.
It's just like Syracuse. We said Syracuse was at a turning point, and look what happened last night. Same thing right here with Benji.
You throwing salt on the wound? Is that what you're doing? Throwing salt on the moon?
No. I'm just saying. Some of these teams we know, you know, they're busted. You know, they're bleeding out of both ends, and there's no reason to keep chasing it. And all you have to do is sing a little song like this. Ain't no sunshine when she's gone. Because the party is over in Vandy, man. I mean, I can't find no way to back Vandy in that game. You know, I'd rather lay the 21 points and see what happens. Maybe we get a defensive touchdown. Some of these teams are just busted up, man. That's just how I feel about it.
And you have to factor that into the handicap. One team is still playing for something, playing with passion, playing with emotion, playing with intensity, and one team looks like they've mentally checked out. And that's the concern going into a game like this too, for sure. So it has been an absolute disaster. And I'll say, you say Syracuse last night that they've reached a turning point. Yeah, they have reached a turning point. You are right about that. They've reached a turning point down the drain. That's the turning point. They turned down the drain. Syracuse, you talk about disappointing teams in terms of maybe top 5 or 10 disappointing teams in college football this year. Syracuse is on that list. They have to be.
Agreed.
Absolutely. And Big Ragoo, I'm glad you brought up this game in the SEC. I mean, Vanderbilt, and I agree with DJ Big Boss. It's tough to find things to bet on Vanderbilt with, but the Commodores, I mean, power ratings wise in the SEC, I can't think of a team I would power rate lower than Vanderbilt is this year. However, at the same time, is that a buy low scenario going up against the Missouri team? I mean, compare Missouri's schedule to LSU or Auburn, some of these teams in the West. It's two different things, you know, to call them like SEC schedules. It's just so different. I mean, Ole Miss, Troy, South Carolina, Southeast Missouri State, West Virginia, Wyoming. They actually found a way to lose one of those games, which really makes me wonder, how good is this Missouri team? I mean, they beat South Carolina before South Carolina kind of had this resurgence. That's why I really don't want to lay 3 touchdowns with this team. It's just like DJ Big Boss said, man, Vanderbilt, you don't want to catch a falling knife, but that's a knife that's fallen really far. I don't know how much more further it could fall in terms of the betting markets. So if you made me choose it, I would be on the Commodores plus the points, but I'm like Ian, I doubt I bet it. Guys, let's any other games like open mic section here? DJ Big Boss, you wanted to bring up?
I got one for you. I'm going back to the rail with Bowling Green again. Now Bowling Green sees Central Michigan in this game right here, and I think the under is live again. Like last week, we really expected Bowling Green not to score, and they brought out a little defense and they scored a little bit. So, they're still basically in the same condition that they were before last week's game and this week's game for sure. Maybe just a tad bit better on offense, maybe a tad bit better on defense, but they still bleeding out of both ends. They playing against a Central Michigan team, like Babano said, that's inspired to play and trying to get over the hump. They're 4-3 in the season, and Bowling Green is 2-4. So I think they do fight. Bowling Green is at home. off of an amazing win last week, and I think they fight. And what they improved some of the best on was on the defensive side in that game. They really shut them down. So I expect them to have that same intensity on defense. Maybe Central Michigan gets loose late. You know, they have a pretty good offense over there, but it's going to be an exciting game to watch. And I'm thinking about going right back to the well with the under on this. We think about going right back to the well with something that worked out for me last week.
Ride the money train. I mean, if you found a value there on a total or a side and you think the market's behind, that's one of the best ways to kind of pad your bankroll, in my opinion, DJ Big Boss. I wouldn't talk you off of it, man.
That's right. So, yeah, I'm right back to the rail with Bowling Green. If anybody taking Central Michigan in this one?
I'll speak to the theory of riding streaks. And it's not just, side streaks, riding a team ATS. It's riding teams on total streaks. Look what I've done with Charlotte in Conference USA. I've been on the over every game with Charlotte. Just keeps on cashing. Just, it's been a beautiful thing. Don't have to think twice about it. Yeah, Charlotte and Western Kentucky. Now, this one's 48 for a reason. And I'll speak about this game now that I'm on the Charlotte tangent here. But Western Kentucky's got a much better defense. They've got a very, very plodding, shaky offense. That's been their issue all season long. However, if there's one team the Western Kentucky offense, in theory, especially at home in this game, should come to life against, it's Charlotte. I mean, the defense for Charlotte, 45 points or more in 3 of their last 4 games. Got shredded last week by Florida International. Just not very good on that side of the ball, but very capable offensively. Faster paced under Will Healy, the new head coach there. Reynolds, the quarterback's a decent quarterback. Benny LeMay, I think this is a guy at running back. Nobody knows anything about him, but he's really good running the ball. 48, chance of showers in Bowling Green, Kentucky today. I think that's why the total's gone down a bit, but 30%. It's not like it's going to be a washout. Wind's not going to be terrible, and wind concerns me more than rain when it comes to overs. So I like the over there, 48. 6-0 to the over, Charlotte, this season. See if they make it 7.
I was thinking the same way, Ian. Early this morning, trying to pick a game out for best play today, and that was one that was on my radar. So I definitely back that play 100%.
You guys see anything there sidewise? -9.5 for Western Kentucky?
It has to be Western Kentucky or bust, I guess.
It's tough. It's a lot of points to be laying with them because their offense is hit or miss. But the Charlotte defense and the Charlotte offense is capable of a backdoor if they're down by like 14 late. I mean, there is a good offense, Charlotte, but it's a hideous defense that the 49ers have. So I'd lean Charlotte plus the points, but I like that total more, way more.
Great stuff, guys. Hey, Big 12, we got Baylor, Oklahoma State. I tend to think the Cowboys are the team here. -4 now, -5 market pushing it up. That's one I was looking at in the Big 12. Baylor, of course, been a darling here in the betting markets, straight up wise. Ian, anything on that Big 12 game or any other games you wanted to bring up before we get to best bets, man?
Yeah, Baylor, Oklahoma State. It's an Oklahoma State spot, and the bettors realize that. I mean, people have been liking Cowboys all week long, and I get it. But Baylor's a solid team. Baylor's not showing me not the rush to bet against Baylor, but I do realize and understand that this is a much better spot for Oklahoma State. So because of that, I'm going to stay off that game. I'm kind of tempted I'll throw in a bunch quickly. I mentioned Air Force Hawaii over in the chat. I like that one a lot because you got Hawaii, great passing offense. Air Force is not good against the pass defensively, shredded in the secondary. And on the flip side, Hawaii can't stop the run or anything on defense. And we know that's what Air Force is going to do. So that game should have some points in it. Middle Tennessee State +7.5 against North Texas is kind of interesting to me because North Texas doesn't look like the same team this year. Mean Green defense has not been good. Mason Fine playing, but I think less than 100%. He's been banged up, hasn't looked like the same quarterback. And MTSU, I'll tell you what, they thought they'd miss Stockstill, the coach's son at quarterback. Asher O'Hara has been a capable quarterback here for this Middle Tennessee team, and he's gotten better each week. So I think Middle Tennessee State may be a live road dog there.
Nice. And we also got money line plays here, moneyline underdogs, excuse me. And one that I was looking at was the Temple team. You can get them near +300 now. I took them also plus the points here against SMU. I know SMU, the Mustangs, what they started off this season pretty much undefeated here. against the spread, but Temple, the best defense they would have played as of now. So I'm leaning towards Temple there, taking a shot with them. Small bet here on the money line. But DJ Big Boss, any money line plays you wanted to throw out there, money line underdogs, or any other games you wanted to bring up on the board, man?
The one I was saying, the money line would probably be with South Carolina going for the double whammy. That would be my best play at the money line for this weekend. But it's probably a big dog out there that's going to have an upset today. Upset alert should be coming around the corner soon. You know, these teams are getting lackadaisical. You know, they starting to plan ahead. You know, a whole bunch of stuff going on with these teams. So I'm expecting some big dogs. But if I had to take it on the smarter side of things, who really had a good opportunity, I say it's a good opportunity for the double whammy for South Carolina. But are we going over the best bets now, Drew?
Ian or Big Ragoo, did anybody else want to throw out any other games? Any money line plays?
Big
Okay,
Ragoo's
go
got
ahead.
one.
Yeah.
I'm looking at NC State, Boston College. I like Boston College at home as an underdog. They can score points. NC State is also 4-0 at home, but 2-0 on the road. And Boston College can score. I think they're going to get our guy, the Heisman candidate, involved today in the running game. I think, but NC State's pretty good on defense, but I don't think they travel as well as they do at home. So I think Dillon has a pretty good game today. They got second man up quarterback. You know, they got involved in Denny Grossel. He came in last week. Their quarterback went down, and they played a pretty good game against Louisville. They wound up on the short side of the game, but they lost a 2-point loss against Louisville. So they're coming off a tough-fought battle. I think the kid's very capable. I think they get Dillon involved, and I think they can give NC State a run for their money at home and come away with the win. Boston College, money line at home.
Nice. Going with the Eagles. And Ian, anything else before we get to best bets?
You know, I've noticed Teddy when he says the betting markets don't react for a certain injury or whatever, quarterback, running back, when the betting markets don't react to an injury to a big skill position player, Teddy will always go, the yawning effect. That's how I feel about Boston College losing Anthony Brown, the quarterback, to injury. It's like, he wasn't that great a quarterback, Anthony Brown. Never was, in my opinion, for Boston College. So, you get another guy back there, a fresh look, different look, no game film on him. It can't hurt this Boston College team, at least in terms of the passing game, because that's the weakness of their offense. We know A.J. Dillon, phenomenal running back, can run the ball, but no doubt about it, quarterback change is not a big deal to me with that Boston College team. Drew, you mentioned Temple SMU. I'm glad you did, because I'm on that game, and that's another game I'm on the over in. It's just like with Charlotte. SMU is 6-0 to the over this season.
Yeah.
Gone over the total in every game. They've scored points against every team. Everybody talking Temple defense. I am lucky as shit to cash that ticket with Temple last week against Memphis, because they couldn't stop Memphis. Memphis stopped themselves with turnovers constantly over and over again. Temple didn't stop Memphis. Memphis stopped Memphis. Their defense, Temple, got shredded in the second half of that game against Memphis. Now you got to go up against Shane Buechele and this SMU offense that's been lighting up the scoreboard against everybody they've played this season. Yeah, I'm not buying Temple's defense doing anything today, especially on the road down there against SMU. Memphis tore them up last week, and that was in Philly at Temple. I think Temple's going to be in for a rude awakening with their defense against this high-powered SMU offense that's rested off a bye, throw some tricks and gadgets into the playbook. I think SMU will score, and Temple, offensively, ground attack is solid with Reistead. Anthony Russo, I think that was one of his better games last week at the quarterback spot against Memphis. I think he can carry it over. Temple's offense is starting to gain some momentum, so the total's right around 60 there. I like it over the total.
Good stuff, Ian. Great points there, man. And we got Fat Fist in the chat box from South Florida. What's up, Fat Fist? Saying, guys, slow this down. He's writing it down, not so fast. And just so you know, we will tweet out the best bets at the end, guys. So we got 12 o'clock games kicking off in just 12 minutes, guys. That means it is time for best bets, following up the 4-0 week last week. Gotta keep it going, guys. Find some winners. But DJ Big Boss in the state of California. Always a great time. Love working with you, buddy. What do we got for best bets today, man?
Hey, before I give my best bets, Drew, I must announce that we had to lay the meatball play to rest after the losses on the meatball play last week. So we coming up with another play this week in place of the meatball play, and this is going to be my gas station egg salad sandwich play because I hate fucking egg salad sandwiches. That's just disgusting. And if you had to get it out the gas station, who knows how long it's been sitting up there. So
I agree.
This one is one of those games right here where, you know, you take it and, you know, if you win, you're happy. If not, it's like really being hungry and have to eat that or either take a bite or eat the bread or something off of that egg salad sandwich. And that's going to be in this Auburn game in Arkansas. Now, we've seen Arkansas against, I believe it was Alabama, who opened up a little tough. You know, we've seen them do a little volatility stunts here and there. And this Auburn team, they might be looking past this Arkansas team today. And I like them plus the 19. But to get in my best bet of the day, this was a little sneaky play. I probably shouldn't have did it, but after capping the game, I like it a lot. And that's in this Texas A&M and Ole Miss game. I like the first half under in this game. Now, Texas A&M, they look like they can do a little doozy to Ole Miss. Ole Miss been having a lot of fight back in them, and they started off being really well on defense, but now they're getting a little better on offense. They have number 44 offense with the number 92 defense, but sometimes those numbers don't even matter when you got a senior group like they got over here at Ole Miss. I think Ole Miss at home have to put the defense on the line and play some defense. And Texas A&M, that's what they do. They play defense. You know, they're holding teams to 116 yards on the ground. On the ground is where Ole Miss has been making a lot of their money. They're going 230 yards on the ground each game. And also same thing over here with Texas A&M. Even though Texas A&M, they pass 60% of the time for 288. Most of these passes are short passes. If you look at the catches of the wide receivers compared to the touchdowns and the yards that they have, it got to be the quick hitch. You know, they're just hitting the quick hit so quick. And teams that's disciplined like Ole Miss on defense, even though they're missing one of their DBs back there, but, you know, it's a large senior group anyway. They had 10 returners at the beginning of the year. They can handle that quick hitch. That quick hitch is saying nothing to teams with good defense. Now, teams that can't tackle well or do some of the basics of defense, that quick hitch can eat them up. So I like the under first half in this game. It's minus 27.5. Best value I can find on the card in this game will be first half under. But I also like the under full game. But I want to stay away from tie games, backdoor covers, all that kind of stuff. So first half under, 27.5 for me.
All right, DJ Big Boss, Texas A&M, Mississippi, first half under 27.5 for the best bet. Got his partner in crime, Boston the Sauce, at Big Ragoo 62, state of Florida. What do you got for best bets, buddy?
Seems like we're talking about unders all day today, huh, guys? Everything's an under. Let's stay with unders. We're going to go to Boise State and BYU. Now, Boise State, they got to go visit BYU. BYU is going to be up against it. They're coming off of 3 losses, 2 road losses back to back, and they're really dinged up pretty good. Like Ian says, you know, do the yawn with the quarterback scenario, but they've got the quarterback is gone, offensive linemen are gone, skill position players gone. They have some major depth issues. I don't see them scoring a whole lot of points. The only thing that scares me a little bit is Boise. You know, they can't put the points up. If they're banged up defensively, I think BYU is still going to be okay. So I like that look, but I think their offense is going to put their defense in a little bit of peril here. So even though and I'm not a big fan of playing games that are, you know, under 50 points, but in this particular game, I am. Bachmeier's out, but that's not going to be a big deal. DJ and I were talking about this. They've got kids that could step up and play because when Bachmeier competed for that position, he won it. So I'm still going to lean under in this game. I think they stay under 50 points. I see maybe like a 35-7 finish here or something like that. You know, I think maybe Boise is the better look here, but on the road, I'm not liking them as much as I would like them at home. So I'm going to stay under Boise State, BYU.
And Big Ragoo, that's under 45, correct? Boise State, BYU?
Yes, correct.
Okay, so we got 2 best bets in. We got Ian Cameron at Babano, north of the border. What do you got for best bets, buddy?
This is not best bet. I'll get, but one last one that isn't a best bet. We're riding the green wave today. Tulane plus the points against Memphis. I like that one a lot. I cashed against Memphis last week. I think there's a hangover spot for Memphis, much like it was for Tulsa last week. first loss of the season. Now you're behind SMU in the standings. You're looking up at a bunch of teams now in that AAC. Your first loss, your New Year's Six bowl aspirations are probably shot now if you're Memphis. A hangover time, and this is not the right team to be playing in a hangover spot because Tulane is good, really good this season, and I think they'll prove it today. For best bet, we're going to go to Conference USA. We cashed an over with this team last week, and we're going to see if we can do it again this week. We're going to go. It's a good game in this conference. It's not a great conference this year, top to bottom. It's down a bit, but this is a good game in this conference. Southern Miss Golden Eagles, Louisiana Tech Bulldogs. We've got near Pick'em, total 58.5. Right now, we're going to go over the total in this game. Great quarterback matchup. Jack Abraham has been terrific for Southern Miss, a pass-happy offense against a team that can't stop the pass. Louisiana Tech's given up 9 yards per pass attempt. That's not good. They're getting shredded in their secondary. In fact, this is the worst and weakest defense that Skip Holtz has had at Louisiana Tech down there in Ruston in years. This doesn't even resemble anything close to some of the good Louisiana Tech defenses they've had in years past. They've been shredded on a regular basis, and I think that continues here today against Southern Miss in that explosive passing game. And on the flip side, Jamar Smith, multi-year starter at Louisiana Tech. They've got a very good offense. They've scored 35 or more points, Louisiana Tech, in 3 of their last 4 games. You're going to get a little bit of pace. Louisiana Tech's playing a little quicker. Southern Miss plays a little bit quick at times as well. Reasonable total, modest number, 58.5. Southern Miss, Louisiana Tech over 58.5 for best bet.
I like it. All right, Ian, Cameron, and I'll finish this up, best bets, with one saying I agree with you on that green wave, Ian. In AAC, watch out. They might win that conference with UCF having a true freshman at the quarterback position. I mean, Cincinnati's going to be tough, but at the same time, I think Tulane has the best quarterback in the conference with McMillan, and a really good defense and a really good coach with Willie Fritz. Having said that, my best bet for the record, Oklahoma State, the Cowboys, -4.5. I think this Baylor run ends here. I think Oklahoma State beats them at home. Good home field advantage off of a loss and off of a bye under Gundy. He's a man. He's 40. He's got a mullet. I'm riding the Cowboys. They got a really good quarterback as well. So Oklahoma State -4.5 for me. Ian, Cameron, Southern Miss, Louisiana Tech, 58.5. We got Big Ragoo, Boise State, BYU under 45, and Texas A&M, Mississippi, first half under 27.5 for DJ Big Boss. Guys, anything else before we shut this one down?
Great show. Man. That's all I got to say. It was always fun on a Saturday.
Absolutely.
That's a sharp play you're on there, Oklahoma State, my man. So you got it. Go get it.
All right, you guys, best of luck with best bets. If you're tailing guys out there, 350 people watching right now. We really appreciate it. Please smash the like button on your way out. And we will be back next Saturday, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific on the closing line. Same time, same place, guys. Best of luck with your bets.
Good luck, everybody.
Good luck, everybody. Yep. See you.
Cash them tickets.